The Romans greatly admired ancient Egypt. They were so fond of it. They adopted many Egyptian deities to worship throughout the empire. Ancient Egypt had an incredibly rich and complex pantheon of gods that were worshipped for over 3,000 years. When Egypt came under Roman rule after the conquest by Augustus in 30 BC, the Romans gained exposure to these gods. The Roman Empire adopted many aspects of Egyptian culture, including their religion and gods. The adoption of Egyptian gods in the Roman Empire was a complex phenomenon that involved syncretism, the blending of different religious beliefs and practices. The influence of Egyptian gods on Roman culture and religion cannot be underestimated. Through the means of trade, travel, and cultural interactions, the Egyptians introduced their captivating pantheon to the Romans, leaving an indelible mark on their religious beliefs. The Romans were known for their willingness to adopt and adapt foreign deities into their own pantheon. Egyptian gods were often associated with Roman counterparts based on their similar attributes or functions. For example, Isis was equated with the Roman goddess Venus, and Osiris with the Roman god Bacchus. This syncretism allowed the Romans to incorporate Egyptian gods into their religious practices without completely abandoning their own traditions. One of the main reasons for the adoption of Egyptian gods in the Roman Empire was the popularity of the cult of Isis. Isis was an Egyptian goddess who was associated with fertility, motherhood, and magic. She was also considered to be a protector of sailors and the downtrodden. The cult of Isis spread throughout the Mediterranean world and became popular in Rome, where she was often associated with the Roman goddess Ceres. The Romans built many temples to Isis, and her worship was tolerated and even encouraged by the Roman authorities. The festival of Isis, the Isia, which commemorated the death and resurrection of her husband Osiris, became a significant event in the Roman religious calendar. The narrative of Osiris's death and rebirth had parallels with other mystery religions and contributed to the Isiac cult's appeal. Serapis was a syncretic deity created during the Ptolemaic period before Roman rule, essentially a blend of Osiris and the Apis bull, which was a sacred animal in Egypt, with elements of Greek deities such as Zeus and Dionysus. The Ptolemies promoted Serapis to unify Greek and Egyptian religious traditions, and this fusion made Serapis particularly palatable to the Roman mindset, which was already accustomed to syncretism. Under Roman rule, the Serapeum in Alexandria, a temple dedicated to Serapis, remained an important religious center. The worship of Serapis spread across the empire, particularly among the Greek-speaking populations, and his image often depicted him with a grain measure on his head, signifying abundance and fertility. Another deity that captured the imagination of the Romans was Osiris. Revered as a god associated with death, rebirth, and agriculture in ancient Egypt, Osiris's story fascinated both commoners and elites alike. The belief in his power over life after death provided solace amidst uncertainties surrounding mortality for many Romans who sought reassurance about their own destiny beyond this earthly realm. Horus also played a significant role in bridging Egyptian religious traditions with Roman society. As a falcon-headed god symbolizing kingship and divine protection in Egyptian mythology, Horus embodied qualities highly valued by the Roman ruling class. His association with strength and authority endeared him to emperors who saw themselves as protectors of their empire. Other Egyptian gods who were adopted by the Romans included Anubis, the jackal-headed god of mummification and the afterlife, and Bastet, the cat-headed goddess of fertility and protection. These gods were often depicted in Roman art and literature, and they were incorporated into Roman religious practices. These divine entities did not merely exist within isolated pockets of worship. Rather, they permeated various aspects of Roman life through cultural exchanges between both civilizations. The Roman emperors, particularly those of the Julio-Claudian dynasty, actively promoted the worship of Egyptian gods as a way to legitimize their rule and strengthen their connection to the conquered territories. The construction of temples dedicated to Egyptian deities, such as the Temple of Isis and Serapis in Rome, served as a symbol of imperial power and prestige. During the height of the Roman Empire, the emperors held an unparalleled position of power and authority. Not only were they political leaders, but they were also regarded as divine figures by their subjects. This deification of the emperors gave rise to a complex web of religious beliefs and practices known as imperial cults. The imperial cults drew inspiration from a diverse range of religions, with one notable influence being Egyptian beliefs. The ancient Egyptians had long revered their pharaohs as semi-divine beings who wielded great power and authority. This concept resonated with the Romans, who sought to elevate their emperors to a similar level of reverence. Elements from Egyptian religion gradually found their way into the worship rituals surrounding Roman emperors. For example, depictions of Egyptian gods such as Isis or Serapis started appearing alongside representations of Roman rulers in temples dedicated to imperial cults. These syncretic images aimed to merge both Egyptian and Roman traditions, creating a unique blend that emphasized the emperor's divine status. The Emperor Hadrian, who was particularly fascinated by Egyptian culture, built a temple complex in Antinopolis, Egypt, dedicated to the worship of himself and the Egyptian god Antinous. Egyptian gods were often associated with mystery cults, which were religious groups that practiced secret rituals and initiations. These mysterious cults held a deep fascination for the Romans, who eagerly embraced their practices and incorporated them into their own religious traditions. The allure of the Egyptian gods and their associated mystery cults was undeniable to the Romans. Drawn by tales of hidden knowledge, divine revelations, and spiritual enlightenment, they eagerly sought out these secretive groups in order to experience the profound mysteries they offered. Within these mystery cults, adherents would participate in elaborate rituals and initiation ceremonies that aimed to connect them with the divine realm. Through these sacred practices, individuals hoped to gain insights into the nature of existence, attain personal transformation, or acquire special favor from the deities. The Roman embrace of Egyptian mystery cults not only reflected a genuine interest in foreign religions, but also symbolized a desire for deeper spiritual experiences beyond what traditional Roman religion could offer. The exoticism and mystique surrounding Egyptian culture added an element of intrigue to these secret societies. By incorporating elements from Egyptian mythology and rituals into their own religious practices, the Romans believed they could tap into ancient wisdom and access supernatural powers previously unknown to them. This syncretism between Roman and Egyptian beliefs resulted in an amalgamation of religious practices that enriched both cultures' understanding of divinity. The popularity of Egyptian mystery cults contributed to the spread of Egyptian religious beliefs and practices throughout the Roman Empire. The presence of Egyptian gods in Roman art can be traced back to the period of Roman expansion and cultural assimilation. As the Romans conquered various territories, they encountered new belief systems and religious practices, including those of ancient Egypt. Intrigued by the rich mythology and distinctive iconography associated with Egyptian deities, Roman artists began incorporating these figures into their own artistic creations. Sculptures played a significant role in showcasing the fusion of Egyptian and Roman cultures. Elaborate statues depicting popular Egyptian gods, such as Isis, Osiris, and Horus, adorned public spaces, temples, and private residences throughout the empire. These sculptures not only served as decorative pieces, but also acted as symbols of power and prestige for wealthy individuals who sought to showcase their cosmopolitan tastes. Paintings provided another avenue for Romans to engage with Egyptian deities on a visual level. Frescoes illustrating scenes from mythology often featured prominent gods like Ra or Anubis alongside familiar Greco-Roman characters. These vibrant depictions helped bridge the gap between two distinct pantheons while stimulating curiosity among viewers about unfamiliar religious traditions. Mosaics emerged as yet another medium through which Egyptians' gods were integrated into Roman visual culture. Intricate tile artworks embellished floors and walls in luxurious villas across Italy and beyond. Meticulously crafted mosaics showcased an array of divine figures, ranging from goddesses like Bastet to sacred animals like the Sphinx or serpent like Ouroboros. The works of Roman writers, including prominent figures such as Plutarch, Apuleius, and Juvenal, offer invaluable insights into the fascinating world of Egyptian gods and their worship. Through their writings, these talented authors shed light on the intricate nuances of Roman understanding and perception surrounding the ancient Egyptian religion. Plutarch's extensive body of work delves deep into a range of topics related to Egypt's rich religious traditions. His meticulous research and detailed descriptions provide readers with a comprehensive understanding of various Egyptian deities and their roles within the pantheon. Plutarch's writings not only explore the revered gods like Osiris, Isis, and Horus, but also delve into lesser-known figures that held significance in Egyptian mythology, such as Sobek. Apuleius, another esteemed Roman writer, offers a unique perspective on Egyptian religion through his renowned novel The Golden Ass. Within this captivating tale filled with magic and transformation lies an exploration of cults devoted to specific deities prevalent in Egypt during that era. Through vivid storytelling interwoven with religious practices depicted in great detail, Apuleius immerses readers in the mystical realm where these gods were worshipped fervently by both Egyptians and Romans alike. Juvenal's satirical poetry takes a different approach when it comes to examining Roman perceptions towards Egyptian gods. Known for his biting social commentary delivered through humorously exaggerated accounts of everyday life, Juvenal provides glimpses into how some segments of society viewed foreign religions such as those practiced by Egyptians. The adoption of Egyptian gods in the Roman Empire was not without controversy. Some Romans saw the Egyptian gods as foreign and exotic, and they viewed their worship as a threat to traditional Roman values. There were also concerns about the spread of superstition and the corrupting influence of Egyptian culture. However, the Roman authorities generally tolerated the worship of Egyptian gods, as long as it did not interfere with the state religion or the loyalty of the Roman people. The worship of Egyptian deities continued well into the later periods of the Roman Empire, with the Isiac cult persisting as one of the last pagan religions to rival Christianity before the empire's official conversion. The legacy of Egyptian worship practices can be seen in the iconography and ritual elements that were absorbed into early Christian worship, such as the concept of resurrection and the figure of the Madonna and Child, which echo the imagery of Isis and her son Horus. The adoption of Egyptian gods in the Roman Empire was a complex process that involved syncretism and the blending of different religious beliefs and practices. The cult of Isis and Serapis were particularly popular, and these gods were often associated with Roman deities. While there was some opposition to the worship of Egyptian gods, it was generally tolerated by the Roman authorities. The adoption of Egyptian gods in the Roman Empire is an interesting example of cultural exchange and the blending of different traditions. If you enjoyed this video, please like it and subscribe to this channel. This will allow us to make more videos.